I'm Logan Crawford, and right now on GBM, we're featuring a deeply personal and adventurous memoir that blends surfing, culture, spiritual awakening, and the universal search for home. The name of the book, You Can't Go Home Again, a journey of perseverance, humor, and heart. It takes readers from the beaches of Southern California, Mexico, and Hawaii to Panama, following one man's powerful journey through chaos, growth, and self-discovery. It is written by a terrific author. His name is Sherman Ph.D., and this inspiring memoir explores perseverance, humor, and heart through life's unexpected turning points. We're delighted to have this very talented author join us here today. We thank the team at Atticus Publishing for helping us put him on TV today, and we ask viewers like you to support authors like him by subscribing to our channel and by purchasing his amazing book. The links are below this interview. Rich, thanks so much for joining me here today.
Thank you, Logan. It's a pleasure to meet you.
Pleasure to meet you as well. If I could excel in one sport of any in this world, it would be surfing. To me, there is nothing greater than being on a giant wave and mastering it, handling it, and hanging 10 or whatever you say, and riding that pipe. It's amazing. Talk to us a little bit before we get started about the thrill of surfing and why it becomes a culture, a lifestyle, and a passion.
Well, I think for me, being raised in Southern California and having access to some of the great beaches of Southern California and being neighbors with Mexico, and being an adolescent at that point in life, surfing was a way of connecting with the group that I was with, having some family issues early on in life. The surfing group became my family. Surfing becomes a culture. It gets in your veins. They call it the stoke. Once you've experienced the stoke of riding a wave, it stays with you for life. And that indirectly links to Panama. After leaving the North Shore of Hawaii, I longed for the surf culture. And that surf culture, again, is something that you have a kinship with the other surfers that you run with, and the experience of riding big waves, which we got to do in the North Shore of Oahu at the end of my senior year of high school. So surfing is just a way of life. It never leaves you, even though right now I'm kind of landlocked. We run a bed and breakfast and a coffee shop in Panama, right outside of Panama City. I have access to some of the best waves in the world, and I long to get back to it. But at my stage right now, it's more about working the coffee and the hotel and things like that. So it always stays with.
Yeah, and I guess that was the impetus to write this book. You're pining for those days of surfing and you start revisiting your life a little bit.
Yes.
The concept or the idea of home plays a powerful role throughout this work. Tell us why that is.
You know, beginning early in life, I noticed some tensions in my family system. I'm about 8 years old and not making sense of the world. And home starts to become a place of insecurity. And with the family issues that I had at the time and learning to understand them, home became very insecure, as I said. But as I got into the surfing, that became home. As I got into athletics, that became home. And home became kind of, I would move in and out of different situations where I would try to find home. Eventually, after we left Hawaii, I came back unannounced to my parents. They didn't know I was coming back. I was gone for about 3.5 months. Returning home, they were not ready for me to be home. I'm 17, I'm an adolescent. The tensions, I bring more tension to the family. So again, home is being unstable. So leaving home, unfortunately got into some trouble with the police a couple times. The most recent time was, again, surfing, going down to San Diego to surf. The beach becomes your home. You walk the beach, you see the sunsets, you just resonate with home. Getting into trouble at that time, coming back home, bringing more problems home. Eventually, I get into a very heated argument with my father, almost into a fist fight, and then I leave home. Get my surfboard and my used 10-speed bike and my clothes, and I hit the road in my 1963 VW bus. So that night I slept in a field, and before I dozed off under the stars, that inner voice came to me and said, "You can't go home again." So that kind of begins the journey, leaving home. As fate would have it, I lived in my van for a while, and then found my way unexpectedly in an ashram. That was kind of a magical period too, because that became home. I practiced Kundalini yoga. I became a vegetarian. When I found the application or the sign that said room for rent, $100, Robertson Avenue, West Los Angeles, I knew where that was, and I went there and knocked on the door, and to my surprise, on the screen were thousands, well, not thousands, hundreds of flies. And I'm wondering, wow, why are they? And they looked very content and happy. And I said, this is getting weird. But I knock on the door, and a young man, maybe early 30s, very physically fit, with a Sikh's turban, comes to the door. And I say, I'm here to see the room. And he sees me looking at the flies, and the flies are scurrying around. And he looks deeply into my eyes and he says, "We don't kill flies here. All life is sacred." I said, "Oh my goodness, this is getting weird." So he shows me the room, and at that point I find out that it's an ashram, Indian ashram for Kundalini yoga, Yogi Bhajan 3HO Foundation at that time. One of the many yogis that came to the United States after the Beatles had gone to India. So that's the same, that period. So that becomes home for a good year. Then a transition occurs again with home. My brother, who became a Messianic Jew, my family's Jewish, he became a born-again Christian, and he saw me. We hadn't seen each other for a long time because our family had kind of disengaged. And he asked me, he says, do you want to come live with me and my family and teach you about Christ, and hopefully you can be saved? I said, well, I want to be saved from the ashram. You want to save me? It seemed like a good fit.
Yeah.
So I move home again. And this time he offered me to stay with my nephew in his room, but I chose to stay in the garage. It had a desk and a bed. And I was in the community college finishing up my degree in physical education, or my associate's degree. So I needed to save money. He wanted to save me. So I studied Christianity for a good year, about 9 months. And unfortunately, I was strung out on marijuana at the time. So I was smoking marijuana in his garage late at night, getting ready to go to bed. And he lived in an area that was kind of rough. And the sheriffs patrolled that area.
Wow.
So I hear footsteps outside the door, and I'm unfortunately pretty high. And I'm in a garage, and we have tools, so I grab a machete.
Oh my goodness.
I walk outside the door, and I get blinded by the light, and the light is the sheriff. And within seconds, I'm arrested and in the back of a car. So I moved from, again, my brother's house, now I'm in jail, to a new house. That was a really enlightening period. I think that's where I really start to find my sense of self and home. We're all rounded up into the showers. They spray us with disinfectant. They give us prison clothes, and we're lined up to go into our cell. but they allow us to get toothpaste, toothbrush, newspaper, and things at the little store window. So I run to the store window, get my goodies, put it in front of my where I'm lined up to go into the cell, and I say, I got 60 cents left. I'm gonna go get another candy bar. Run, go get a candy bar, run back, and all my stuff is gone. All my stuff is gone. And I think to myself, who would steal my stuff? And here I'm in with
you're in prison.
I'm in prison. Who would steal my stuff? So they let us into the cell electronically. The gates open and you go into the day room. And I'm just kind of getting oriented. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, this muscular guy comes up to me and squares off with me. And prison life is difficult. I think he's about to make me his girlfriend. I don't know what's happening. And he looks me in the eyes and asks me if I'm Turkish. I said, am I Turkish? And again, I write about this in the book. I said, well, it just happens that my grandparents on my mother's side came from Istanbul in the 1800s. My parents were born in the States. And he looked me deeply. I said, well, why do you ask? He says, because you have that unibrow across your, long. And then he gets real serious with me and he looks me deeply in the eyes and he says, you don't belong here. Don't come back. And then he turns around and walks away. And I'm kind of mesmerized by the entanglement between me and him, and then he's gone. So eventually I get out after 3 days and 3 nights, in the day room, out the day room, make peace with my brother. And I apply to transfer to Cal State LA, had enough units. So at that point, I go into student housing. And that's where, again, another transition and transformation occurs. I've lived in my parents' house, my van, an ashram, a garage, and in jail. And now I'm going to student housing. So where is home? I don't know where home is. But when I get to student housing, things start to really blossom for me. And that's where I begin to journal. I ran out of money again and had to return home. A young lady that I had breakfast with gave me a journal. I didn't know it was a journal. I opened it up, it was blank pages. She wrote, may your heart never stop growing. We'll miss your witty comments at breakfast. Love, Kath. And that was the beginning of learning how to journal. And again, another transformation in the process. All that from surfing to student housing.
Amazing. It was a fascinating tale you told right then and there. I mean, so many different aspects of it. Everybody, I think, in their mind would love to go on the road and live in their 63 VW bus for a while. It sounds very, very cool. And they'd want to avoid the stint in jail, but obviously the cops were not that aware of your constitutional rights at that point to be in your home and smoke a little marijuana. So it's an amazing story. We're almost out of time, but what's the message you hope readers take away after reading about your journey and your life story?
You can't go home again, a journey of perseverance, humor, and hope. I think particularly for adolescents, the message, don't give up. Even though we're living in different times than when I was an adolescent, and not to give up, to follow that inner voice, even though you're going to be distracted by 1,000 different things today, and that we all have a purpose in life. It sometimes takes a long time. It's like an artichoke, you got to get to the heart of it. And similarly for young families that are going through family problems, there's a lot of help out there. There's a lot of good people that want to help in social work and counseling. And my background is in counseling. And to seek help if you need it, and just follow your heart.
Amazing, amazing. Do you still have that 63 VW bus?
It's on the cover of my book.
I know it's a beautiful image. And that bus is probably worth about anywhere from 50 to $75,000 today.
Yeah, I wish I
It
had
would
it.
be nice to have it in the driveway in that condition as well. It's a beautiful bus, a beautiful story. You know, when you're living through it at times, I'm sure it was hell. But when you look back on it, obviously things look, you know where the pieces are going to fall together, which you didn't have that privilege when you were in jail for 3 days, which probably
Yeah.
felt like 3 weeks or 3 months or 3 years even. And it's kind of like a unique episode of Touched by an Angel. I picture this 6'4" muscled guy coming up to you and telling you, you don't belong here. So that was
Wow.
your message from God. Yeah, wonderful, wonderful. The name of the book is You Can't Go Home Again, A Journey of Perseverance, Humor, and Heart. It's a powerful memoir for anyone navigating change, identity, and the longing for belonging. Rich, thank you so much for joining me here today.
It's a pleasure. And I want to thank Atticus Publishing for their guidance, and they've been a real blessing to me. Thank you.
Absolutely. It's a great team over there. They help a lot of writers a lot, and I'm glad they were helpful to you as well. To the folks at home, I'm Logan Crawford for the Global Book Network. So long for now.